like me who's strong. Leave motherfuckers aboard with no verbal support. And when I command the microphone, I get delicate as condo with a bear and a snake.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to Homecoming 1997 at Losinger High School, brought to you by Channel 60 Sports. Losinger High School tonight, the Olympians take on the West Torrance Warriors. This is Homecoming. There's a lot of festivity in the air. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by Jason Miller. And Jason, this promises to be an exciting game this evening as the captains are now at midfield. I'll get to you in a moment after the opening coin toss.
They'll be deep in the defensive backfield. Mr. Jackson is the head linesman. He's going to be on the West Torrance side. And Mr. Lyles is going to be the umpire. He's the guy you're going to try to run over. Mr. Lyman is going to be the line judge. He's going to be
there you see the officiating crew giving the instructions.
Okay, number 10, you are the calling captain. I have heads and tails. I'm going to flip the coin in the air. Call it in the air. If I drop it, we're going to do it again. Call it loud, please.
Tails.
Tails has been called, and it's heads. You have won the toss, and your coach says you're going to defer. You want the ball?
Yeah.
Which way are you going to kick? Put your backs. All right, here we go. Losinger has won the toss and will defer until the second half. West Torrance will take the ball in the first half. Gentlemen, come in, shake hands, and bring your teams out.
All right, there you see, Losinger won the toss, and as they did last week, they've elected to defer receiving until the second half, so they will kick off to the West Torrance Warriors. Let's talk about how this game compares to last week's game. First of all, we know that Losinger had a tough loss last week against North Torrance, losing by a score of 14-8 in a game in which they had a brief lead, but they were done in by a number of turnovers. So, tonight they will be looking to get back on the winning track. The Olympians coming in with a record overall of 2-3 and 1-1 in Bay League competition. West Torrance comes in with a record of 3-2 and 1-1 in Bay League competition. Of course, Peninsula is at the top of the league standings with an overall record of 5-0. They're at Torrance this evening for an evening game. And here we see the Olympians taking the field now. Again, to a rousing cheer, as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, this is Homecoming 1997, one of many over the years that we've covered here at Channel 60 Sports. Promises to be an exciting game with a lot of crowd enthusiasm in the air. In last year's contest, Losinger won by a score of 6-3. West Torrance is a very good ball club, though. As we know, and last year they were a little bit more competitive than they've been thus far this year, although they do come in at 3-2. This is a very winnable game for the Olympians. Of course, the key to victory for them will be obviously cutting down on turnovers, which just absolutely took them out of any chance to win last week's game. 6 turnovers in all, as we mentioned, something they clearly worked on this week. A key for the Olympians tonight, fans, that you should be aware of, their quarterback, Chris Faria, didn't practice all week because of the flu, and we may see Eddie Miller at quarterback some tonight or Jermaine Woodard. Miller, though, will most likely operate out of the backfield where he's shown himself to be very effective. Of course, he's the Iron Man for the Olympians, doing a little of everything as well as being an outstanding defensive player. So right now, we're ready for kickoff, fans, as Eddie Miller tees it up. Back to receive for West Torrance. Our number 12, whom we don't have in our program. We'll have to get him for you. I should have said number 18, rather. Along with number 45, he heads up to Miller. He's got a hold. Eddie Miller's the only guy with a chance at him, and Miller with a nice shoestring tackle out at the 43-yard line brings him down. So West opens with excellent field position at their own 43-yard line, courtesy of the kickoff return by number 45, Brandon White. Jason.
All right, Rufus, we had kind of a school emergency right there, but the Olympians had problems returning kicks last week. This time they had a problem against the Warriors already.
And of course, their quarterback, a returning starter, Greg Sane. Keeps it himself, goes right up the middle. We got some running room. Finally going to be brought down after he breaks into the Lusinger defensive backfield by Eddie Miller, along with number 34 for the Olympians. And of course, we know that is Lamar Johnson.
Rufus, the Olympians had trouble stopping the quarterback sneak last week. Let's take a look at the replay. Greg Sane, the quarterback, it shows that the West Torrance Warriors are going to make the Olympians guard the middle.
So it's a first down for the Warriors, now in Lusinger territory at the Lusinger 30-yard line. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time it's a handoff to the halfback who goes up the middle for a nice little gain before he's brought down.
This West Torrance team is led by Greg Sane. Rufus, he's a Division I prospect, probably one of the best throwing arms in the South Bay, has good touch on his out patterns, but he is prone to throw the interception over the middle. What the Olympians are going to have to do is get pressure up the middle and force Sane to get out of his rhythm.
Briac Stewart, the running back number 32, another returner as a starter from last year's team. So there's some experience on this field for West Torrance. Here's a pass out in the flat, complete. Number 41 looking to get around the corner, does. Down near the goal line. No sign from the official, but it's going to be awfully close. We'll see on our replay in a moment just how close it was.
The Olympians last week gave up big plays on the opening drive. They give up big plays this week as nobody's there to guard the man out in the flats. The Olympians have their back to the wall early on once again, and they have to come up with a big defensive stop.
And that was Pierre Holiday with the reception, the human bowling ball at 5'9", 225 pounds. Tough guy to bring down. They're at the 5 to keep it on the ground once again. Touchdown is just signaled by the official. At the 10-19 mark of the first quarter, the Warriors go on top by a score of 6-0 with the extra point attempt coming up.
I tell you, that was too easy for West Torrance. They just pushed it right down the Olympians' throat, started off with a good kick return, and the Olympians are going to be in for a long night if they can't stop the West Torrance running offense.
Here we see the setup for the extra point attempt. There's a snap, fumble placement, and Lusinger is going to tackle him before they're able to get the kick attempt off. So, small victory there for the Olympians. Score 6-0 in the first quarter. Olympians will be receiving.
At least something goes Lusinger's way on that drive as the West Torrance Warriors have come to play here on this Friday evening. The Olympians gave up big plays early on last week against North Torrance, but they were able to calm down somewhat and come back and make a game of it. This week, West Torrance isn't going to step all over themselves like North did last week. If Lusinger can't stop them, they'll blow them out.
Here we have an opportunity to look at the touchdown run again. There you see him hit the hole right in the middle. Losing the defenders get there, but big number 45 just a little too strong to be brought down. Again, that's Brandon White. Another senior on this team. This is a very senior-dominated team, Jason, which means they bring a lot of experience to the field, and I can certainly recall from last year calling a lot of these guys' names.
Yeah, Greg Sane is in his third year starting at quarterback for the West Torrance Warriors, so he's been through the wars already.
Olympians set up to receive. Back deep to receive, number 21, Teak Charles over on the right side. They go to the left side, however. To number 31, it goes into the end zone for a touchback. That was Lefner Gutierrez, according to our program, number 31, who didn't handle the ball cleanly. And so the Olympians will start at their own 20-yard line, Jason, needing to answer early here in the first quarter to stay in this game.
And the Olympians are a running team. And if they get behind by too many points, they're going to have to go to the air. Red Woodard is starting at quarterback, Rufus, in his first start at the varsity level.
As we mentioned, their starting quarterback from last week did not practice all week due to the flu, so they have made a change here. They give it on the ground to number 1, who's got some running room. That's Bruno, Brian Bruno, and he's out past the first down as he gets out to about the 35-yard line. There you see Brian Bruno on your screen, 5'7", 220-pound senior. They're going to spot it at about the 34-yard line where it's first and 10 for the Olympians.
West Torrance doesn't have the best defense in the world, Rufus. The Olympians should be able to run the ball. But if they get down by too many points, then they're going to have to go to the air. They need to just keep doing what they're doing right now.
Once again, Woodard under center. Olympians also had a number of penalties last week. This is Eddie Miller, short gain on the play as he crosses the 35-yard line. So, Jason, your thought on the quarterback change and how that will affect the Olympian effort tonight?
Well, the Olympian coaches have confidence in Red Woodard, but he's fresh. You haven't seen him yet, so you really don't know what you're going to get. But the Olympians can't get him in any situations that might unravel. They need to give him support on the run.
Second down and 8 for the Olympians. Once again, to keep it on the ground. This is Eddie Miller with the carry. And he gets out near the 40-yard line. It's going to be a 3rd down and 5.
Technically, 3rd and 5 is a passing situation, but the Olympians may just run it. But on that last play, the West Torrance Warriors have about 8 guys up in the box, so they're going to have a lot of support against the run. As you can see, the Olympians with not bad blocking, but there's just so many West players up in the box.
Not to mention the fact that West obviously has scouted this Olympian team and knows that the running game is the primary part of their offensive attack. Here's Eddie Miller going right, reverses field, cuts back up, and he's going to be gang tackle as he gets back near the line of scrimmage at the 35-yard line. It's going to bring up a 4th and 5 for the Olympians, what should be an obvious punting situation.
West isn't the best defense, we said that, but the man on their defense is number 5, Devin Casey. He makes most of the plays for this West Torrance Warriors defense. The Olympians have to get better blocking, simple as that on the run.
So the Olympians pick up a 1st down, give their defense a bit of a rest. Of course, their defense worked quite a while last week, and obviously the rest. Great punt by Miller. Let's see, they're going to let this go into the end zone for a touchback, so it'll come out to the 20. Nonetheless, though, a good kick by Eddie Miller gives the defense an opportunity to have room to work with from a defensive point of view, in that they don't find themselves near midfield or in their own territory when the offensive drive starts.
Last year, Eddie Miller had an 80-yard punt. This one, 60 yards. With the Olympian defense, they're going to have to toughen up because it was just too easy for West on that last possession.
West's first drive of the game was a 70-yard drive that ended with a 5-yard touchdown run, gave them a 6-point lead. They failed on the extra point attempt. We've got 7:37 left here in the first quarter. Once again, their quarterback Sane drops back to pass, pumps, hits a man out in the flat. Got a few blockers in front of him, breaks a couple of tackles. Ball comes loose, he got a fumble. Eddie Miller picks it up, heading down the right sideline. One man to beat. Let's see how they rule it. Dives for the end zone. They say no, they're gonna mark it what would appear to be about the 1-yard line. Great fumble return there by Eddie Miller.
Well, I was thinking while the play was going on, what a great play by Greg Sane, because he set the screen up so well, but he got it off to the big fullback. The Olympians going for the ball all the way. Look how well he sets up the screen, Rufus. Then he gets it off to the big fullback, who starts rumbling. It looks like he's going to go a long way, Rufus. That's number 40. And you see the strip there coming into your screen, stripping it away. Lamar Johnson for the Olympians.
And that was Kurt Carlson, who's a big-time player for West on that fumble. Carlson, another senior at 6'2", 215 pounds. They keep it on the ground, Eddie Miller, and they reward him with the touchdown. So Lusinger gets on the board at 6:55 of the first quarter on a 1-yard touchdown run by Eddie Miller. Of course, set up by Eddie Miller with the excellent fumble return down to the 1-yard line.
And now Mr. Everything can kick the extra point, Rufus. The Olympians really got a break on that possession.
And as we've said before, Eddie Miller, Mr. Everything for the Olympians. Return the fumble. Now it's a fake kick. He's heading for the corner. Can he get there? No, is the signal from the side judge. So we've got a 6-6 score. With 6:55 left here in the first quarter, but that brings the crowd to life, Jason.
And you know why he didn't get that extra point? It was number 5 on the defensive play for the West Torrance Warriors. We said that he was the best defender for the team. Devin Casey, we said he was the best defender on the West Torrance team, and he made a nice play right there. We're going to take another look at the extra point attempt, Rufus. The Olympians could have taken the lead by going for 1, but they decided to put some distance between them and go for 2. We're not going to look at the replay, but the thing was that the Olympians were trying to put some distance between them and West Torrance, taking a page out of the Hawthorne playbook.
So, again, at the 6:55 mark, we've got a tie ball game, fans, and that certainly brought some excitement to this crowd. A near-capacity crowd tonight at Olympian Field here at Lusinger High School in beautiful Lawndale, California. Of course, these productions are made possible by the generosity of the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation, and also with some funding, if I'm not mistaken, from the city of Hawthorne. Here's the kickoff. They take it at the 10. Big hit laid there right at the 15-yard line by Brian Bruno.
Hello, Brian Bruno, number 1, one of the best defensive players for the Olympians, goes absolutely nuts on that play, as we have him listed about 70 pounds over his weight. He told me he's about 150, but he laid all 150 into the returner right there. Look out, Rufus.
And you see the return man for West slowly walking off the field. That's number 18, Kevin Weinbeyer, who's also a senior. Weinbeyer, a name we called last year. And right now, Weinbeyer is just trying to collect his thoughts and find out where he is. And in a moment, somebody will tell him he's on Olympian Field here at Lusinger High School. And he just got nailed by Brian Bruno. And Bruno certainly lived up to the reputation of his name on that hit, Jason. So Greg Sane brings him up to the line of scrimmage. It's a 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line, they call it. They keep it on the ground. And that's Krausen with the carry. Actually, that was number 41 on the carry for West Torrance that time. Not Krausen, but instead Pierre Holiday, the 5'9", 225 running back. Here you see on the replay, Holiday with the carry. And Holiday just heads up the middle. And again, if you look at how big this guy is, I mean, he's a mini version of a Natron Means, and he's not much smaller than Natron. This time they come with a single back, and we've got a flag on the play. Our first flag of the night.
West Torrance likes to run out of the slot formations with the 2 wide receivers, and the Olympians should pick up on that. They ran on that last play out of the slot. They tried to run at this play before the whistle was blown. Lusinger, one of the only schools in the nation with the ref, with a mic on the ref.
This penalty goes against the Lusinger defense. Encroachment makes it a 1st down and 5 now. As the ball is spotted at the 40-yard line. Actually, they spotted, yeah, it's at the 40. So 1st and 5 for West from their own 40-yard line. We've got a tie ball game. Once again, Holiday is a single back. They give the handoff to Holiday on the draw. He heads around the left side. He's got some running room. It's going to take a couple of people to get him down. He's gone, finally pushed out of bounds over on the far side by number 34 for the Olympians. That's Lamar Johnson with a touchdown-saving tackle there.
They are absolutely killing the Olympians on the counter, Rufus. You take another look at it. No linebackers inside for the Olympians.
Well, that's about what the Olympian defenders saw, and that was looking at Pierre Holiday from behind. The same view we got on that play. But it's a 1st and 10 as the Warriors of West Torrance on the march again at the Olympian 25-yard line.
That's the run formation, Rufus.
Once again, they have it on the ground. That's Holiday with the carry. Finally brought down on the shoestring tackle by number 55, Willard Coleman for the Olympians.
Boy, he's popping off 10 to 15 yards a carry. The Olympian linebackers are nowhere in sight. Lamar Johnson, number 34, is going to have to start making some plays on the defensive side for the Olympians.
1st and 10 from the 13-yard line now for Torrance. Once again, they keep it on the ground, running exclusively at the heart of the Lusinger defense.
I tell you what, the problem number one, the defensive linemen for the Olympians aren't getting any penetration. So they're letting these guards pull around there, and the linebackers for the Olympians are waiting too far back to react. By the time the Olympian linebackers react, the running back's already 5 yards downfield.
2nd down and 5 now for the Warriors from the Olympian 8-yard line. Lusinger looking for the big defensive stand here. Once again, on the ground, no surprise there. Olympian defense tightens up just a little bit as number 45 is brought down after a very short game, that being Brandon White.
West is a passing team. You think they've watched some films, and do you think they watched North run up and down on the field against the Olympians last week? They are going to grind it out on the Olympians, and the Olympians are just giving them too many opportunities for big runs.
Well, they're certainly trying to exploit the middle of that Olympian defensive line. It's a 3rd down and 2 now from the 5-yard line. Big 3rd down play for the Olympians. They drop back to pass. Here's a pass in the flat that's incomplete. That pass intended for Pierre Holiday. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. West had a good thing going, and on 3rd and short, what should have been a running down, they elect to pass and they come up incomplete. Let's see the decision of the West coaching staff now.
They got a little bit too cute for themselves last play, Rufus, but the Warriors are going for it. And don't be surprised to see a run play right here.
So Lusinger here with an opportunity to stop West on his short. They keep it on the ground. Where's the indication? No indication. Well, we got conflicting signals here. We got the referee saying it's a 1st down, but no official signal. And it is a 1st down for the Warriors of West Torrance. Good defense there by the Olympians, Jason. 1 point we thought we had them. Nonetheless, it's a 1st and goal. They spot the ball at the 3-yard line. Once again, on the ground. Round left side. They don't get in yet, although they pick up a yard on the play. So it'll be a 2nd and goal from about the 2-yard line. That was Brandon White with the carry for the Warriors.
They are running at will right now on the Olympians over that left side. The Olympians have got to get a little bit tougher and start busting those guys in the backfield. Take another look on the next play, Rufus, that the penetration by the Olympians' defensive line is minimal at best. They've got to start getting some penetration and make some backfield stops.
And there you see the ball right on the goal line, and touchdown. So that was the quarterback saying with the keeper. Warriors now, and there you see Sane as he just glides across underneath the pile there. And the Warriors now making the decision as to whether to go for the 2. So, with 2:52 left in the first.
Hey, Rufus, they're popping 10, 15 yards a carry. I don't see why they wouldn't go for 2 this play to force the Olympians next time they score to go for 2.
Extra point attempt coming up. Now we've got a timeout taken by West, which never quite got the decision made as to which extra point play they were going to run. So now they'll head to their sideline and discuss it over there. It gives us an opportunity to mention to you that this broadcast is brought to you by Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 as we're at homecoming 1997 at Lusinger High School. Right now with the Olympians trailing by a score of 12-6. But there's a lot of excitement in the air, and you can look for the Olympians to mount a drive on their return.
Yeah, homecoming crowd, Rufus. Former offensive line coach John Guilfoyle, when the Olympians had their great offensive lines, he's on the sideline right now. He coached me. He should be pumping up those players. I bet you they're ready to play. The offense doesn't look bad right now. The defense, they're really getting their hats handed to them is what's happening, Rufus. West Torrance right now can do anything it will, and they haven't even opened up their passing game. They have one of the best passing games in the South Bay, and we haven't even seen it yet.
Well, the defense last week spent a lot of time on the field, and tonight already they spent a considerable amount of time. We've still got 2:52 left here in the first quarter. Now West shows that they're going to go for the 2-point conversion. They send the man in motion. Sane drops back to pass, and he's going to be blindsided by number 2 for the Olympians. That's Bobby Petch.
Bobby Petch is the brother of Chris Petch, former 3-year starter for the Olympians. Came untouched. Sane didn't see him until the last second. And it seems as no team can make their extra points this evening, Rufus, in front of this homecoming crowd.
As we roll the replay in, you'll see Bobby Petch come from the far side, unabated, with a clear shot on the quarterback, and he gets there, showing excellent speed and great pursuit. By the time Sane realized he was bearing down on him, it was too late to do anything but eat it. So the Olympians, now trailing by a score of 12-6, are going to prepare to go back on offense.
I tell you that the Lusinger defense has got to get on the sideline. They've got to regroup a little bit. They've got to come up with some pride, and they've got to decide that they're going to stop this running game.
Back to receive for the Olympians. Oscar Cifuentes, number 19, number 21, T. Charles, and number 31 for the Olympians, Lefner Gutierrez. Goes to Gutierrez, he fakes the handoff, heads around this side, he's got a good block, can he turn it up? Jukes one man, still on his feet, got some running room, still on his feet. Excellent return that time by Gutierrez.
That's the transfer from Norwalk, just came in a couple weeks ago, John Patterson, Rufus, and that was an excellent return. His first time touching the ball this season. Hey, he needs to touch the ball a little bit more, and he's showing these Olympian coaches. That's Lefner Gutierrez, who's no longer on the team, but John Patterson's wearing his number.
Okay, we have a correction, fans. Number 31 is John Patterson and not Lefner Gutierrez. John Patterson. And as Jason just pointed out to you, a recent transfer into the Olympian program from Norwalk. Once again, Wood at the quarterback to keep it on the ground. Short game.
Oh, all right. We saved it. Let's go, guys.
We've got a momentary audio difficulty, fans. However, we will continue to work through it right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Come on now, team. Let's take it down.
Second down and 9 now for the Olympians. Ball spotted right on the 40-yard line.
Second and 9. Gain of 1 yard on last play will make it second down on the 40
Hand off this time to Bruno. Bruno tries to cut it up. He gets a short gain on the play. He's going to make it a 3rd and long for the Olympians now.
That was a good job by the West Torrance defensive ends by keeping containment, staying outside. That was good discipline. Good job by the West Torrance defensive ends. Now the Olympians in a passing situation, Rufus, and they put in Oscar Cifuentes, the best receiver on their team.
So they're going to call it a 3rd and 8. Actually, it's a 3rd and a very long 8. Probably do well to get 9 just to make sure you've got the 1st down. Olympians send 2 receivers out to the right side. Now they bring the tight end in motion over here. They fake the handoff. Here's a pass over the middle, a very wobbly pass. It falls incomplete, but we've got a flag on the play. And this may be roughing the passer against the Warriors. If so, it will give the Olympians a 1st down.
You see Red Woodard maybe a little bit too excited, as he looked like John Elway used to look in the Super Bowl where the first play, he just used to throw it really hard. But the Olympians are going to get a 1st down anyways on the roughing the passer.
And it is a roughing the quarterback penalty against the Warriors. They're going to step out 15 yards. That'll take Lusinger into Warrior territory. So the Olympians benefit from the personal foul. They keep their drive alive. It'll be 1st down and 10 from the 45-yard line of the Warriors. Actually, the 44, with just under a minute left here in the 1st quarter. 12-6 score, favor of the Warriors. They keep it on the ground. This time they give it to Eddie Miller. He heads around the right side. Still got to turn it up. Finally turns it up, but for a very short gain on the play.
Boy, that Devin Casey is a ball player, Rufus. He just crushed one of the Lusinger blockers and forced Eddie Miller to string it out all the way out to the sideline. That was a nice play by Devin Casey. And the Olympians, no yards on that opportunity. Actually, they may have even lost one.
So we've got 25 seconds left here in the 1st quarter. This most likely the final play of the quarter. 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians. Woodard drops back the pass, throws over the middle. Pass just a little high for his intended receiver.
That wasn't a little high, I don't think, Rufus. That should have been caught. You got a new quarterback in. He's got to make that play.
That was Tyrone Brooks that the pass was intended for, number 6 on the Olympian program.
Yeah, Brooks needed to make that play, Rufus. That was just inexcusable.
Makes it a 3rd down now for the Olympians. So the Olympians benefited from the personal foul. They get the 15-yard penalty, put them into Warrior territory. Now they've got to make something happen on their own on the 3rd down and 10 play. 10 seconds left here in the 1st quarter. They send the man in motion. They keep it on the ground, giving it to Eddie Miller. And West smelled that one out all the way. They stop him for no gain on the play. Perhaps a loss of a half a yard. Makes it a 4th and 10 now for the Olympians.
Kurt Krausen and Devin Casey once again do a tremendous job. Those linebackers for West are simply doing a tremendous job against the vaunted Lusinger running game. That's the end of the 1st quarter, Rufus. But the Olympians, for the next 3 quarters, need to come up with something offensively and something defensively.
And that's the end of the 1st quarter right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We've got a score of 12-6 after 1 quarter. The West Warriors now return to the field as we prepare for our 2nd quarter action. Eddie Miller back to punt for the Olympians, setting up at his own 40-yard line. The West return man back at his own 15. Kick is up, real good kick by Miller again. The Lusinger defenders will have a chance to cover this deep in West territory, and they do. So the Olympians put the Warriors in a hole courtesy of an excellent punt by Eddie Miller down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, they got the good punt by Eddie Miller. Now the defense has got to stop the West Torrance offense.
And as the West offense comes on the field, gives us a chance to run down for you this week's Daily Breeze Top 10. Peninsula ranked number 1, Westchester number 2, Redondo 3rd, North in the Bay League 4th, Miracosta 5th, San Pedro 6th, Hawthorne at 7, West at 8, Narbonne and Banning. They keep it on the ground. They break into the secondary again of the Lusinger defense. Gain of about 6 on the play. Makes it a 2nd down and 4.
That offensive line, let's give them some credit for West Torrance. They're opening up some nice holes, and they're pulling really well.
Just beginning second quarter action here with West leading by a score of 12-6. Lusinger looking to make a stop here and stay in this. Sainz pass out to number 22, who makes the reception. That, of course, is Sean Ain.
Now we get to see some of Greg Sain's magic, as that was a nice bullet out pass to Sean Ain. And if West Torrance gets all cylinders clicking, passing and running the ball, they are an offensive machine, Rufus.
So it's a 1st and 10. They call it to 29. They keep it on the ground once again. It's their big back Pierre Holiday with the carry. Very short gain that time by Holiday. Got a time taken on the field. They say it's Lusingers, but they point it to the west side. Now the referee corrects his call. It indicates that it is an Olympian timeout.
Well, Rufus, the Olympians, you can't say it enough that the Olympians have got to start stopping the running game. And they're nobody's touching the West Torrance running backs until they're 5 yards downfield at least.
And that's part of the reason I would suspect why Coach Bobby Greer is out there on the field now, realizing the importance of this particular defensive stand. And actually, that wasn't Coach Greer out there, but one of the assistant coaches instead.
That's Tom Gordon, the assistant defensive. He's a defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, Rufus.
But it's as you're pointing out, Jason, he realizes the importance of the defense making a stand. Once again, on this drive, you can't afford to get down by too many points to this West team, particularly when your own offense is built around the run, which eats up a lot of time off the clock. So it's a 2nd and 4 they're calling it. They're saying the ball is spotted at the 32-yard line, and the quarterback fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Bruno. It's going to be a 1st down for the Olympians, and that's just the break that they need as they get the ball at their own 20-yard line.
Brian Bruno again. How about that? So West Torrance has done a good job offensively, but they've made a few mistakes, and that's why the Olympians have been able to stay into it. You see, all Sain did is trip over his own feet. He tripped over his own foot, and Brian Bruno smelled that ball and dived on it immediately.
So the Olympians get a big break there with 10:26 left in the first half, courtesy of the fumble by Greg Sain and the recovery by Brian Bruno. Jermaine Wood at the quarterback, fakes the handoff. Here's the pitch back to Bruno, and they're going to call Bruno down courtesy of his knee having touched the ground. So there's going to be a loss on the play for the Olympians.
Olympians with a little razzle-dazzle as they fake the handoff and go to the option end around. He had blockers out in front, but Bruno just wasn't able to hang on to the ball. Now the Olympians need 15 for a first down, Rufus. Might be a nice time for a draw play or something of that nature for the Olympians.
Well, the backfield once again has Bruno and Eddie Miller as the backs. Woodard the quarterback. This time he hands off to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller goes up the middle for a very short gain on the play. One of the things it appears that the Olympian offense is trying to do, obviously, with West keying on the run and keying on Eddie Miller, is to give him a few different looks, such as the fake handoff to Miller and some end arounds with Bruno and so forth. But still, if they're spotting the run, it's going to make it very difficult for you to get something going against this very good West defense. Once again on the ground, this is Bruno with the carry. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage and picks up maybe a yard on the play. It's going to make it a 4th and 9 now for the Olympians.
The Olympians ran that play with the mindset that they're going to go for 2, I believe, but I see Chris Foria coming in the holder. It looks like they're going to attempt a long field goal. Does Eddie Miller have the leg? I think he has the leg, Rufus, but he hasn't attempted one this far all season. Looks to be a 37-yard field goal from here.
Well, I want to see him put his foot to it first.
Well, we know he has the leg. Oh.
And there you have a snap, a busted play for the Olympians. Miller still on his feet. Not exactly sure what happened there. I think the ball was obviously snapped before Miller was ready.
So Lusinger gets the turnover, and all they can do is go backwards. And now West Torrance gives the Olympians a break. You're not going to get too many of those in a game. Take another look. It looked like the center snapped it before anybody was ready. Even the line was still moving. That's inexcusable, Rufus. What's this, game number 6 of the year?
Certainly is, and you could see by the way Miller was moving to the ball, I don't think kicking it was ever his intention, however. And there's a quick slant pass over the middle. Hit the receiver, and it's going to be finally brought down by number 21 for the Olympians, but not until he makes a big gain on the play. With a touchdown-saving tackle for the Olympians, that was Teague Charles.
What a brilliant play on just the quick slant to get it up in between the seam for the Warriors. The Olympians look like actually they didn't have a corner out there.
So, ball now at the Olympian 33-yard line where it's a 1st and 10 for the Warriors. Leading by a score of 12-6 already in this ball game. Once again, they keep it on the ground, break a couple of tackles, and with great regularity, it's taking the Lusinger defensive backs to make the tackle even on the running game.
Hey, the Olympian defenders were right there. They just started arm tackling Rufus, and with the blocking so far, the arm tackling is just not going to get it done for the Olympians. Good blocking once again by the West Torrance line, but you see the Lusinger Olympians had a couple of guys right there, Lamar Johnson being one of them, but they just can't haul him down.
And that was Brandon White with the carry. Once again, Teague Charles with the stop. So it's a 1st and 10. Looks like we're going to have a delay of game here against the Warriors.
West Torrance continues to run out of that slot formation, Rufus.
Hey, y'all better start recognizing that.
So to make it a 1st and 15 for the Warriors now from their own from the Olympian 25-yard line. Warriors with a host of weapons that they're throwing at the Olympian defense tonight.
All seniors now, because you're right, Rufus, we called all these names last year.
Sane keeps it himself, turns up the right side, takes a huge hit, picks up about 5 on the play as he gets back to the original line of scrimmage. And one thing, Jason, as we talk about West being seniors, they're seniors of a different sort. Here you see the replay, Sane with the quarterback keeper going around the right side. takes a big hit there, but gets about 5 before he's finally brought down, is that these guys are seniors with experience, you know, whereas sometimes Lusinger and Hawthorne and some of the schools we cover have guys who are seniors, but heck, it's their first year playing. And doesn't do a lot of good to be a senior in your first year. But when you've got a program where you've got guys who are seniors, and here you see Sane running, jucking, making moves, keeps it himself, picks up about 7 on the play.
Hey, the Lusinger Olympians are making him look like Barry Sanders out there. They've got to stop arm tackling and put a face mask on him, Rufus. Take another look at it. First of all, they have the open sack, arm tackle attempt by Bobby Petch. Then they have the open hit, Lamar Johnson arm tackles. And then another arm tackle by Jonathan Moore. And the Olympians, they've got to start hitting, Rufus. Simple as that.
Once again, they keep it on the ground on the 3rd and short. Looks like they may have enough for the first down. And that's what the indication is that it's going to be a 1st and goal for the Warriors inside the 10-yard line. Let's see where they spot it officially. They're going to spot it at the 8-yard line with 5:48 left here in the first half. West already leading by a score of 12-6 and knocking on the door again.
They're about to kick it down if the Olympians don't do something quick.
Sane drops back the pass. Here's the pass out in the flat to Pierre Holiday. Touchdown. And that's another 6 for the Warriors. Now makes a score 18-6 with 5:28 left here in the first half. Here you see on the replay again, just a simple little dump-off pass in the flat to Pierre Holiday, who, as we mentioned, 5'9", 225. Eddie Miller put a hit on him, but it was too little too late, Jason.
The Olympian defenders caught with their eyes in the backfield, and that's what you're going to get. Brilliant play calling by the West Torrance offensive coordinators, because they've been able to run the ball on the Olympians, and that's opened up the play action. West Torrance going for 2, Rufus.
And now we've got an official stoppage on the field. As Jason indicated, West Torrance showing that they're going to go for 2 points here. I'm not sure there was an official timeout. Looks like some housekeeping being done by the officiating crew.
Tell you what, Lusinger's run defense the last couple of weeks hasn't been there. Hasn't been any run defense, Rufus. They've got to play a lot better.
Once again, here's West, 2-point attempt. Sane drops back, looking for somebody to pass, pulls it down, throws the pass. It's incomplete.
All West Torrance did right there, they sent 3 receivers to the left side and a back that was almost flanked off to the left. So they just flooded everyone off to the left side. They did what they wanted to. They got Sane out of the pocket, but the Olympians managed to hold them on the 2-point conversion. This game has been all West, basically on offense, except for a couple of turnovers by the West Torrance offense. The Olympians wouldn't even be in this ball game.
Well, they have yet another chance here deep in the first quarter, first half, I should say, as they're going to receive for the 3rd time here in the first half. Lusinger, of course, will have possession to open the second half, or at least an opportunity for possession, because West Torrance will be kicking to him.
This is the biggest crowd of the year for the Olympians. They're waiting to explode. They're waiting for something positive to happen for them. You see, we're up at the top of the bleachers. With 5:28 left, Rufus, the Olympians can run their offense, but they're going to have to start maybe throwing on first down.
And that's not smoke you see there, fans, on your TV. That's the makings of a heavy fog that's starting to roll into Olympic Stadium here. Here's a kick. It's a bounding one. Handled by number 31. Number 31 turns the left side and gets out near the 20-yard line. Looks like they're going to spot it at about the 19, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Olympians. Let's give credit once again. That was John Patterson with the return.
The Olympians had their left return on once again, Rufus, but West Torrance saw it coming all the way. There was just too many guys unblocked from the backside. and they made a nice play. The Olympians now a long way from the end zone, 80 yards away. They're going to have to grind out a drive here.
So the Olympians 81 yards from pay dirt. Trailing by a score of 18-6. Well, they go back to basics. They give it to Eddie Murray. Not a lot wrong with that choice. He gains about 2 on the play. Let's call it a 2nd down and 8 for the Olympians.
Devin Casey is holding the fort at the defensive end position for the West Torrance Warriors. I mean, he is just handling oncoming blockers, tossing them to the side, Rufus, and he's screwing everything up that the Olympians have planned. Devin Casey.
2nd and long for the Olympians, which is the position that they found themselves in on most plays the last couple of drives. Woodard drops back to pass under heavy pursuit, gets rid of it. It's tapped and then tipped and intercepted. A huge turnover for the Olympians. Down inside the 20 at the 15-yard line. It's going to be West Torrance ball, 1st and 10, courtesy of the interception of a tipped Jermaine Woodard pass.
Well, the Olympians got a couple of breaks go their way. This time, West gets a break their way as Jermaine Woodard tried to get out the pocket this time. They had a planned bootleg as they went to the play action. Ran nicely by Woodard. Good play by the end for West Torrance to force him to dip a little deeper. And then there's Devin Casey again, tipping the ball away for the interception.
Here you see Xane call his own number, heads upfield, untouched for the touchdown. 15-yard touchdown run at the 4:16 mark for Craig Xane. And this is starting to get just a little bit ugly, Jason.
You don't want to get embarrassed on homecoming night, Rufus. And if something doesn't change really quickly, the Olympians are going to be on the wrong side of their route. As you see, it's just a simple quarterback draw. Lamar Johnson's there, but misses the tackle. Well, really doesn't even get a hand on him. It's looking a little bit too easy right now for West.
And I think West Torrance has decided to give up on the 2-point conversion. This time they're going to go for the single point. Kick is up, and it's good. So we've got a score now, 25-6 in favor of the Warriors of West Torrance, who right now are doing a very good job of spoiling homecoming 1997 for the Olympian faithful.
This is an important game, of course, because it's homecoming, Rufus, but it's also an important game as far as playoff positioning for the Olympians. They already lost to North Torrance. You can't lose to 2 Torrance schools and expect to make the playoff, Rufus. So the Olympians are going to have to find a way to get back into this ball game and pull it out, because if they don't, playoff looks to be a distant possibility for them.
And when you're a running team, no matter what level of ball you're at, from Pop Warner all the way to the pros, boy, you're at a distinct disadvantage when you go down by a huge margin and you've got to depend on your running game to get you back in it.
And you really can't blame Jermaine Woodard, because he's been thrown into the lineup. Chris Fourier was sick all this week, excuse me. But he's now the 4th quarterback for the Olympians this season. It started off with Eddie Miller, and they're ending up right now with Red Woodard. And you can't really blame him because he's been thrown into the mix so far.
So for the 4th time in this half, the Olympians prepare to receive. This time it goes to the middleman in the return crew, and he heads right up the middle, and he's going to be brought down right at the 21-yard line, and now we've got a flag on the play. After the ball was blown dead, let's see what the flag is from the officials, from the referee. So the penalty is going to go against the Warriors. It's a personal foul. That tacks a big 15 yards onto it, takes it out to the 35-yard line now for the Olympians. So they'll get pretty decent field position out of this as they start at their own 35-yard line with 4:10 left here in the first half. Losing it right now, trailing by a score of 25-6, but with an opportunity to eat into some of that deficit if they can get a good drive going.
I see Chris Fourier coming back in at quarterback, Rufus. Red Woodard looks like he's gone to the sideline. Chris Fourier trying to overcome the flu, Rufus. We got to see how effective he'll be.
So there's a big change for the Olympians. Here's a pass in the air. It's up high. It's going to be intercepted. So they change quarterbacks, but the result is the same. A turnover for the Olympians. Good looking pass by Fourier. Hung it up too long, though. That pass intended for Brooks, and now we've got a flag on the play after the interception. The interception should hold up. Let's see what the call is going to be by the referee, though. Wow, it's going to go against West, so the Olympians are going to get another huge break here, Jason, as we watch the replay here. Here you see Fourier dropping back the pass, loops it up. We'll see if we can catch the end of it. And there you see the interference call there to push off on number 21 for the Warriors. And of course,
that pass went straight up, Rufus. It was almost like a punt. Can't have those if you're just throwing a post pattern. You got to lead the receiver somewhat.
So it's a 10-yard penalty and automatic. We don't get it at the spot of the foul, but most importantly, the Olympians get to keep possession of the ball. Now you've got another flag on the play, and the play is going to be blown dead, which would tend to indicate that this is going to go against the Lusinger offense. And it is a procedure penalty against the offense, make it a 1st and 15 as they move the ball now back to the Olympian 46-yard line. We've got 3:43, clock rolling, left here in the first half. Lusinger trailing by a score of 25-6 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Fourier, the quarterback. Fourier moves slightly, no call, though pitches it back to Miller. Miller looking for a hole.
Woo! No blocking on that play, Rufus. It was Desert Storm by the West Torrance defense as they went to the option, looked open quick, but the Olympian offensive linemen didn't hold their blocks, and the West Torrance defense very quick. They didn't look this well earlier in the season, but they've really played well tonight, Rufus.
And now you've got a timeout taken by the Olympians. Their second timeout here in the first half. And again, they've got momentum, but it's backward momentum. We're going to see on the replay once again the pitch back to Miller. He takes it, starts to look for a hole. However, as Jason said, Desert Storm, if you'll call it, gets there, and as you can see, a host of white jerseys. Absolutely no running room for Eddie Miller on that play.
And Rufus, the West Torrance Warriors are starting to shut down the Lusinger run. And if they shut down the Lusinger run, they came into this ball game with that in mind, to shut down the Lusinger run. And I tell you what, they're shutting it down. And the Lusinger Olympians have had problems passing the ball, but it looks like they're being forced to pass down 25-6 in the second quarter. And
there you see, Coach, you saw in your camera shot just a moment ago, Coach Bobby Greer out there on the field giving some instructions to his offensive unit. Gives me an opportunity to remind you fans that the halftime festivities will be brought to you in their entirety right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. So I want you to stay right there in front of your television and watch what promises to be a very, very entertaining homecoming halftime show, as Miss Sports Royalty 1997 will be named, and there are a number of beautiful contestants for that title this year. 2nd and 16 for the Olympians. And there you see the pass completed. He was ruled down. Ball came loose, clearly ruled down, but it's a big first down pickup for the Olympians. And we've gotten an injured Olympian still on the field. That's number 19. Let's get his name. Let's watch the replay here to see Fourier drop back the pass. Good pass protection there. Over the middle, hits number 19. And number 19 takes a double dose from Briac and Sane, the quarterback, before he lets go. And again, that's, of course, Oscar Cifuentes, who Jason has indicated to us before, the best receiver in this Olympian receiving corps.
Yeah, that's too bad to see him hurt. But when you float him over the middle like that, and you float him high, you open up your receiver in this zone defense to get smashed. You got to smash that play. And I hope he's all right, Rufus, because he is the best receiver for the Olympians. And it doesn't look too good right now.
And we'll see if we can get our camera in there. Didn't look like a particularly hard hit, but there you see the signal for some assistants to come out on the field. Let's see what they're signaling for. It looks like they're signaling for the cart.
They're signaling for the stretcher, not for the cart.
Well, in the absence of a stretcher, it looks like they're going to use the, let's see what, well, they do have a stretcher here. I'm sorry, my Okay, we're back to live action, and of course the training staff is still out attending to Oscar Cifuentes, who was injured on the pass reception. Of course, they're taking every precaution necessary in order to not further aggravate the injury. We don't have a report yet as to what the situation might be, and we see a camera shot there, not our usual tight end shot. Here you see the replay. There you see him go up. Takes a shot there in the back. We can run that if we have it one more time in slow motion, guys. Again, not a particularly hard shot, Jason, and in fact a shot taken to the back.
The level of the hit sometimes doesn't matter. It's the way you were hit, and I think he just was left open, keeping his hands high up in the air.
Okay, here you see the replay again. Comes down with it. If he freezes there, okay, and there may have been some contact around the head. If you watch it closely, obviously hitting the back, and you saw his head snap, and it looks like the helmets may have clashed there. We're certainly going to hope for the best for Oscar Cifuentes. Coach Greer out there on the coaching staff showing his concern for his injured player. And right now a certain hush has come over the crowd. We're going to watch the replay one more time, this time in slow motion. Good pass there by Fourier. And right now you'll see coming into your picture, number 19, Cifuentes. There he goes up, makes a great reception. Comes down, you'll start to see the defenders bearing down on him. Now as we watch here, and that's where you see some of it. Yes, it was a hit in the back, but as we did pick up, there was a lot of contact there between the helmets and him butting helmets and one of the other players. And now you see Cifuentes up to his feet.
Boy, he just felt everyone with a big sigh of relief, Rufus, because you do not want to see no one taken off on a stretcher, whether you're the home team or the visiting team. Looks like he'll be all right, though.
Not being a practitioner of medicine, but taking what would appear to be an educated guess, looks like Cifuentes suffered a mild concussion minimally. Obviously, if it was more severe, he wouldn't be walking off under his own steam. I would suspect that you won't see him anymore tonight as he heads to the sideline to take a seat. We're back now at live action. It's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. They're at the 35-yard line of West Torrance. Fourier keeps it after faking the handoff twice. Got a receiver and overthrows him as he turned his receiver around. His receiver was wide open, number 23, Nelson Reyes.
He's got to make that catch, Rufus. He stopped running, actually, with a nice throw, had him wide open. Oh, he's got to make that catch. No excuse, no doubt about that. The Olympians are down by, what, a score of 25-6, so they have to make catches like that to get back in this ball game.
Well, Fourier threw it over his outside shoulder when he was expecting the pass to come to the inside. And a little late in making the adjustment was the receiver, though, as Jason said. Once again, to keep it on the ground, Fourier passes to Bruno. Bruno has some room. Bruno gets out of bounds with 2:44 left. They stop the clock at 2:43. Fourier's passing, I want to give the young man credit, is looking, without practice, his passes are looking a lot better tonight, as we see here on the replay, the pass to Bruno than they did a week ago.
This is how he looked against Santa Monica 2 weeks ago. Didn't look like this last week, but it's nice to see him back. And the Olympians really need his help right now as their best receivers now out of the ball game.
So the Olympians coming with 4 running backs. They keep it on the ground on the 3rd and short. Gonna be close to a first down. Let's see where it's spotted officially. It's gonna be real close. Officials trying to decide if there's need for a measurement. Referee says no, I can eyeball it from here with 1:59 left in the first half. First down for the Olympians.
They have plenty of time, Rufus. The passing game is working. Hey, they should stick with it.
Now you're gonna have a flag on the play.
Tyrone Brooks is saying it's against West Torrance, Rufus.
And big number 40, Krausen for West Torrance, seems to agree. So the Olympians pick up 5 yards, courtesy of the encroachment by the Warriors, make it a first down and 5 now. Ball spotted at the Warrior 20-yard line, and yet another flag on the play.
That's going to be offsides again. They're just going to hand them first downs, Rufus. The Olympians will take it.
So there you see a full moon there, and the Wolves will be howling tonight. You've got a full moon, you've got fog, you've got a little of everything, you've got homecoming. A real special night here at Olympian Field. Special in every regard except for the score if you're an Olympian fan, because right now they trail by a score of 25-6. But it's a first down at the 15-yard line. And Fourier's pass is intercepted by Sane. His opposite on the Warrior team as a quarterback. Fourier just looped it out there, it hung up too long, and Sane, actually playing center field, just picked that one off, Jason.
It looked like it was a miscommunication between the quarterback and his receivers, and you might get that when you don't practice all week. Of course, Fourier had the flu. Take another look at it. Fourier, he looks like he's confident in who he has as receiver, but Tyrone Brooks stops running right there, number 6. The pass may have not been intended for him, but when he stops running, then the Olympians have no chance at it.
So a big turnover kills another Olympian drive.
Unbalanced!
From the Torrance 10, it's going to be 1st and 10. And you've got a flag on the play to stop it. Again, a usual indication that it will be against the offense, but let's see. Gives me a chance to remind you once again, fans, that Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 will bring you the well, you got an interesting penalty there. It's delay of game against Lusinger for failure to wear the proper equipment.
Maybe no mouthpiece, something of that sort. Boy, is that inexcusable.
So it's a first down and 5 now. They keep the ball on the ground.
Fumble, Rufus.
And Lusinger players think that they've recovered a fumble. Let's see what the official indication is. And it is. Number 32 comes out of there with the ball. That's David Hosier. So the Olympians here, we're going to see on the replay, and the ball does come loose here in the crowd.
It came loose very early. Rufus actually it looked like it came loose on the handoff, and he just dribbled it through the line, and the Olympians finally pounce on it. They get another shot at a touchdown.
So with 56 seconds and the clock rolling here in the second quarter, the Olympians have a chance. Once again, there's a pass to Tyrone Brooks, pass complete.
That was the same play, Rufus, as the interception.
With the clock rolling and 40 seconds left in the first half, though,
I think it'd
you
be a
got to
nice
go.
time for a timeout.
Well, you certainly got to think end
Maybe a
zone here.
timeout.
Second down and 4 for the Olympians. They don't want to squander this opportunity. Interesting call. They keep it on the ground with 18 seconds left, and now, of course, they're going to be forced to use that timeout, Jason. Well, I think on the play, the strategy was maybe to catch him off guard, assuming that West is thinking that you got to pass. Eddie Miller's not a bad guy to hand off to if you've got that timeout in your hip pocket, which Coach Greer knew he had. And now with 15 seconds left and a third down play coming up, obviously 2-down territory, but they'll be hitting for the end zone, I would think, on each play.
Hey, Rufus, if you're going to run at that play, your team has to block. They didn't block that play, but third down and short for the Olympians. You know what? They have to get the first down. If they don't get the first down, then the clock will continue to roll. Well, Rufus, it's nice to be home on homecoming night back in Olympian Field. Next week, where we'll be? We'll be at West. We'll be at Hawthorne and West, right?
I believe that's a game next week to be brought to you right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We've got 15 seconds left in the first half. Olympians trying to tack 6 more on. Fourier drops back the pass, goes to the end zone, has a receiver. Touchdown it should be. No call yet from the official. This is going to be close. Hold on. Oh, they're going to spot it at the 1-yard line with 4 seconds left.
The clock will stop until the chains are set, Rufus.
Olympians have got to get out here and run the play real quick. The Olympians don't have any timeouts.
What?
Well, the Olympians here get a huge break on the timeout, by West Torrance with 4 seconds left.
I don't care if you have 8 guys on the field. You don't call a timeout when you're backed up at your 1-yard line with 4 seconds left. Wait, hey, the Olympians get a break that play. Fourier with a nice pass. See if he got a foot or the ball over. The ball has to get over, not his foot. Hey, that was a touchdown. This official wants to be a superstar, so he calls that.
What did you say? Well, as you saw in the replay, clearly knocked the pylon down, but I also saw actually may have benefited from that because it looks like he may have been out of bounds here.
I say touchdown, Rufus. He is in right there. That ball on the pylon. He's on the pylon. That's a score.
Okay. And actually, they let the clock run on perhaps what should have been a stoppage of play. 4 seconds left here from the 1-yard line. Let's see what the Olympians do. Do they get it in? They do. Great. The Olympians get it in with 1 second left in the first half to cut that 25-6 margin down to 25-12. And they've got a chance for the conversion coming up. And so although time has expired, Losinger will have the opportunity for the extra point attempt. They show kick. Here's a snap. The kick is up, and it's good. So the Olympians cut into the deficit of 19 by scoring a touchdown and getting the extra point with virtually no time left here in the first half. Score 25-13 in favor of West Torrance after one half. Stay right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, fans, for all of the halftime festivities from Homecoming 1997 at Lusinger High School.
And now, for the most artistic banner, Yvette Lila, the Little Lady. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, this award is for the grand sweepstakes of all the banners that showed today. For the grand sweepstakes winner. For the grand sweepstakes winner. For the grand sweepstakes winner. Emily Navarro. Could we have the rest of the Royal Court join our banner winners, the girls, the candidates only? Can you step down, please? The candidates only. Can you join the rest of your court here? And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Your 1997, 98 Sports Royalty Queen.
And welcome back, fans, to the second half of tonight's contest between the Olympians of Lusinger and the Warriors of West Torrance. West Torrance with a 25-13 lead at halftime. Olympians will receive to open the second half. They got a late touchdown in the first half to close the margin. Let's see if they can keep the roll going. And this one goes out of bounds, so they're going to bring it out to, I believe, the 35-yard line.
Bad news for the Olympians coming into the second half. Miguel Cruz, their starting center and defensive lineman, is out of uniform. Looks like he's out for the game. And the Olympians now in big trouble. They've got to come back with a new center, and some defensive linemen are going to have to step up. It looks like, Rufus, that the new center for the Olympians is going to be John Mendez.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Olympians from their own 35-yard line. And they keep it on the ground with Eddie Miller. And Miller picks up 5 on the play, takes it out to the 40-yard line where it'll be 2nd down and 5.
Nice carry that time up the middle. Good blocking over that right side of the Lusinger offensive line. The Olympians now with a 2nd down and 5. Young Donald Bell, sophomore quarterback, now is in at wide receiver, Rufus. Not a quarterback, but a wide receiver. He's a little quick fire bug, very smart football player. Should add a little something to the offense of the Olympians.
Foyer, the quarterback, gives it to Bruno. Bruno has a chance to go all the way. Oh! This quarterback Sane for West with a touchdown saving lunge. I believe that was Sane that made the tackle. I'm sure we'll see on the replay here.
Well, Brian Bruno has asthma, Rufus, and he has acute asthma, but he runs really, really fast and really, really hard. Looks like he tires at the end of this. Tries to send it to an extra gear, but Sane, with a last-ditch effort, barely trips him up.
I mean, Insane just got his hand on his heel. There you see on the replay. Bruno in the open field. Sane making that last lunge that you see football players taught to make. Some do it more for show than effort. There's Eddie Miller with the carry, breaks one tackle, but he's going to be brought down by Krausen, number 40, for the Warriors.
That was a nice hit by Kurt Krausen. He was nowhere to be found last play. That was a nice hit, that play there by Kurt Krausen. Now, if the Olympians can get a touchdown here, they are right back into this ball game.
And before we start thinking touchdown, we need to think, when it comes to the Olympians, protecting the football. They need to protect the football and capitalize on this opportunity here. 2nd down and 8, ball spotted. They're saying the 13-yard line. Once again, it's Eddie Miller with the carry. Miller cuts up, picks up about 5 on the play, maybe 6. Make it a 3rd down and short.
The Olympians' offensive line, especially over that right side, they're starting to open some huge holes, Rufus. Eddie Miller looking like his old self. Take another look. Eddie Miller right over that right side. Nice big hole. He really didn't have to do much till the end. Cut it up there. The Olympians starting to grind it away just as the West Torrance Warriors were doing to start off this ball game. They look like a whole new team in the second half.
And correction, there will be a 2nd down play coming up for the Olympians. Make that a double correction. Now they're going to call it a 1st and goal for the Olympians. You'll see the ball's at the 4-yard line on the 1st and goal for the Olympians. That's Miller with the carry, goes right up the middle, picks up maybe a yard on the play. Makes it a 2nd and goal now for the Olympians.
This would be a nice time for the Olympians to fake it to Eddie Miller and then bootleg it out, Rufus, as you see the the West Torrance offense, the Olympians run a simple dive that play, but West Torrance wasn't going anywhere. No push whatsoever. The Olympians might think of running it to the outside.
So a few extracurriculars in there broken up quickly by the officials. We're in third quarter action, fans. 9:20 left here in the third. Opening drive of the third has the Olympians knocking on the door. Right now trailing by a score of 25-13. Touchdown here will put them back in very good stead. Eddie Miller comes off the field. Tyrone Brooks over on the left. They keep it on the ground. And it's going to be short of the touchdown.
Looked like he was going to get in at the beginning of the play. The hole was big there. Bruno tried to put his nose down and rumble. But nice job by the linebackers of West. As you see, cut back up inside. Greg Sane, the safety, makes a nice play. As the Olympians about 1.5 yards away from the end zone. Naked bootleg perhaps right here. Or do you just give it to Mr. Everything?
Third and goal play, and you've got a flag on the play. Gives me an opportunity to say thanks to an old friend of mine from Lawndale City Hall clerk, Neil Roth. Neil also brought me a correction on my pronunciation of one of the players' names. His neighbor, who he's out to support tonight, he says his name is pronounced Chris Foyer. So thanks, Neil, for that correction. And Miss Foyer, I assure you that from now on we will get it right. Foyer. So it's a third and goal now for the Olympians from the 7-yard line. That 5-yard penalty against them. Really wanting to take advantage of this opportunity here. They give it to Brian Bruno, and Bruno is going to be stopped in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. Makes it a 4th and 7 now for the Olympians.
Now if the Olympians, it looks like they're going to go and attempt a field goal, Rufus, but that'll only bring them down by 9. Take another look at it. Outside carry to Bruno. The West Torrance linebackers blitzing on the play. The Olympians just can't simply pick it up.
And Bruno was running hard. Good tackling there by the West Torrance defender. Kick attempt is up, and it's no good. So the Olympians come away empty after a very promising opening drive that ate up almost 5 minutes here in the third quarter.
Brian Bruno's big run goes for naught, Rufus, as the Olympians simply just don't cash in.
Big opportunity missed there, Jason. You had first and goal from the 4-yard line, and you come away empty. Talk about the fish that got away. That was definitely a big one that got away for the Olympians that time. Because you're right, that would have put a whole different spin on this ball game just with a touchdown, the extra point. You got a 25-20 ball game.
The defense has got to not soak right here. They got to play right here, right now. They've got to stop letting these West Torrance linemen dominate them, and they've got to step up in these holes, Rufus, and stop this counter play that the Torrance team's been running.
So it's a 1st down and 10 for the Warriors now from the 19-yard line. They keep it on the ground for a very short game.
The Olympians were right there to stuff the play in the hole, but they're on their heels and they're waiting, and these Torrance players are getting 4 and 5 yards before they're even tackled.
Let me take this opportunity to remind you fans of Channel 60 Sports that next week we will be at Hawthorne High School, Hellcat Field, to bring you coverage of Hawthorne's homecoming as well as the football game as the Cougars take on these very same West Warriors. Fumble. Sane picks it up. Sane starts to run with it. And he's going to be brought down in the backfield by Brian Bruno.
It would have been a nice time to recover that fumble right there. Greg Sane, who had problems earlier on the dropping back, stepping on his own feet. Let's see what happens here. He just simply lost control, pulled out a bit too early from center. Now, I think we'll see Saint put the ball up in the air. He's a terrific passer. The Olympians are going to have to come with some pressure up the middle.
2nd and long for the Warriors. Let's call it about 8. Saint drops back the pass. He's going to be sacked once again by Brian Bruno.
Brian Bruno, the unsung hero in this Olympian ball club, he's decided that it's his turn to make some plays, Rufus, and he's done a terrific job. This whole crowd seems to be enthralled by the play and the performance being put on at midfield. Look at Saint again. The blocker steps over to the right side to block Ubia, but they don't see Brian Bruno, who makes a big play and causes the Warriors to punt it.
So it's a 4th and long for the Warriors. Losing a return man, setting up at his own 40-yard line. That's number 18 for the Olympians. And he needs to move away from it. We saw them make this ridiculous play, step away. So the Olympians take over at their own 44-yard line. And the crowd being entertained. There you see on your camera. And Jason, what you say this young man's name is?
His name is Kofi Marshall Rufus. He's a junior at Lusinger High School, and he likes the spotlight. He's been asking me each and every week, am I going to be on Channel 60? Well, yes, Kofi, you are.
Well, Kofi, this is your 15 minutes of fame, except we're going to cut it short to about 2 minutes. But enjoy it. More entertainment being brought to you. Homecoming 1997. Now back to the action on the field. 1st and 10 for the Olympians from the 44. They give it to Eddie Miller. Eddie Miller still on his feet, digging for about 4 tough yards, and now you got a flag on the play for what may be a face mask penalty against the Warriors.
You know what, Rufus? That shows right there. The Olympian linemen are not keep holding on to their blocks and keep driving. They're watching the running backs as they get through the hole, as Eddie Miller just kept going, and it seemed like every player on the field stopped playing. And now the Olympians get another break on the face mask.
So once again, the Olympians have a drive that's moving now in West Territory at the west, looks like about the 37, let's call it, where it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Olympians from the west 37-yard line. Chris Fourier drops back the pass, goes over the middle, hits his receiver.
Hey, that's usually the Nigerian sackmaster, but this time he makes a nice catch at Khan Ubia. Nice play to make the catch between about 2 West Torrance defenders and keep those feet driving.
Once again, you'll see on the replay here, Fourier dropping back. Great throw there. Hits Ubia. Ubia breaks 1 tackle, but held up just long enough for the rest of the. Now you've got a flag on the play. Looks like this may be delay a game against the Olympians.
I tell you one thing, the Lusinger passing games look much better this week.
Well, it certainly has. The Olympians still have some problem enjoying prosperity, though, Jason. They get things to go their way, then they make a mistake here or fail to convert, and they lose that momentum. This crowd is just waiting to get back in the game. You can feel them. Olympians keep it on the ground on the play, and they're going to be short of the first down by about 4 or 5 yards. It'll be a third, let's call it 3rd and 5 for the Olympians.
That was Brian Bruno again, Rufus. He's really done an excellent job running the ball and playing defense so far. But now the Olympians with an interesting call here, third down about 5 or 6. And you know what, Rufus? If they don't get it here, they might think about punting.
Well, here's the big 3rd down play coming up. The Olympians come to the line in I formation. They hand off to the second back through, Eddie Miller. He fumbles the ball, picks it up, comes to loose again, but I think it's going to be ruled down. Let's see.
Nope.
How they rule it? No, they rule it's a fumble. As I just said, the Olympians have difficulty enjoying prosperity, so they turn it over and give it to the Warriors. Tough break for the Olympians. And there you see Eddie Miller holding his hand as if though he may have dislocated a finger on that play. You see the ball get stripped there. He's fortunate enough to get it back again. And then when he goes down, he loses it one more time.
I don't know. It looked like on the second time he may have been down, Rufus.
Well, that's what I thought too, quite frankly, Jason. But
Oh, well.
the officials see it otherwise, and now the Olympians are back on defense again.
They might go to the draw play, right? Well, no draw play. They empty the backfield, Rufus.
The center man in motion, Sane pulls it down, keeps it himself. Tries to use the official as a shield there. Gets about 5 on the play as he takes it out to the 40-yard line, where it's going to be a second down play. Here you see the prior play again on Lusinger's possession where Miller lost it, picks it back up, and the ball comes out there. Boy, that could have gone either way. Unfortunately, it went against the Olympians. We've got 1:47 left here in what has been a very quick third quarter. And again, our congratulations to all the participants in the Sports Royalty Contest tonight, and congratulations to the winner, a young lady named Emily. There you see Pierre going down the left side. Pierre Holiday is his name. Tough kid to bring down, 5'9", 225, as we mentioned to you before. Just a human bowling ball. There you see him showing great hands with the reception.
Olympians getting caught on the blitz. Boy, has he been wide open all day. And then when he gets into the secondary, it's been punishment for the defensive backs for the Olympians.
Warriors from the Olympian 37, 1st and 10. They keep it on the ground. This time with the carry for the Warriors is Briac Stewart.
Boy, do they run that counter nicely, Rufus. They get those guards pull really well, and those running backs know where the hole is going to be. They're patient. They set up their blocks really, really well.
Second down and 4 now for the Warriors, who've got a drive of their own going here. This is their second drive of the second half as well. Lusinger has come up empty on 2 drives that showed a lot of promise for scoring opportunities. On the ground, they pick up the first down.
Flag down, Rufus.
And it's a holding penalty being called against the Warriors. They'll repeat second down with an additional 10 yards to go. Brings the ball back to the 35-yard line, where it'll be a second down, and well, they call it from the spot of the foul, so it's going to make it looks like a 2nd and 8.
Donald Bell's in on defense too for the Olympians. He's number 12. They got him right now. Looks like he's at free safety. He's only a sophomore, but one of the smarter players on the field.
And that ends the third quarter as West elects to allow the clock to run out and go to their sideline for some coaching instruction. Gives us an opportunity to once again remind you that this broadcast is brought to you by Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 under the auspices of the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation. After 3 quarters, fans, at homecoming 1997, our score, West 25, Lusinger 13. Lusinger having blown a couple of opportunities here in the third quarter when they could have really put themselves right back in the thick of this game. And right now, they've got 12 minutes left to get the ship righted, Jason.
Yeah, they got to score pretty quickly, Rufus. Because West Torrance isn't just going to hand them the ball. So the Olympians, that passing game, it has looked better tonight. It's going to have to perform in these final 12 minutes for the Olympians to come out with a victory.
So the Olympians here in need of a big defensive stop, Jason, to start the fourth quarter with. And, of course, they've got to put 12 points on the board just to tie 13 to win. While giving up none, of course. So, fourth quarter action starts, fans. Second down and 8. And now you've got a flag, and this looks like it will go against West, although I'm hesitant to call it. And now we've got some action going on in the crowd here. They continue play on the field, and now we've got an official stoppage of action as the referee very wisely elects to stop the game momentarily. Now he's gotten it started back. Torrance playing on never mind. And the quarterback, Sane, is hit as he throws the ball, which causes him to overthrow his receiver.
Gambino, sit down. Gambino, sit down. How about that, Rufus? You know what? We're not going to show the craziness in the bleachers because we're here for a football game.
And on the third down play, the Warriors pick up the first down, keep the chains moving, and start to eat up more time here in the fourth quarter. Losing her defense again in need of the big stop. There you see the clock, 11:36 left in the ball game. Ball's at the 22-yard line of the Olympians, 1st and 10 for the Warriors. Sane keeps it on the ground by handing it off. His running back has some room around the left side, cuts it back. That's number 32 for the Warriors. We've called his name before tonight, Briac Stewart.
Boy, the holes are just so big for the West Torrance running backs, Rufus. All night long, the holes have been there. Take another look at it. They run up inside of the Olympian defensive ends. And look at the linemen have nobody to block. You see no Olympians in the picture. That's what you call some terrible, terrible run defense for the Olympians.
And Stewart showing a great running style there. Stewart keeps it again, goes around the side, falls before he gets to the goal line, falls at about the 1-yard line. So it's going to be a second and goal. Let's call it the 2-yard line that he's at. Here you see on the replay, once again, Stewart. Warriors keep it on the ground once again. The Olympian defenders are there to stop him just short of the goal line.
I don't know why the Olympians don't play like this all the time against the run. It seems like they stiffen up just when they feel like it. But in football, you can't do that. You've got to play tough defense for 4 quarters.
And there you saw 10 minutes and the clock rolling. Left in the contest, losing or trailing by a score, 25-13. West looking to add to that lead. Sane drops back to pass, has a receiver, hits his receiver for the touchdown. Number 22 on the reception for the Warriors. That's Sean Ain. So at 9:35, Sane to Ain for the touchdown.
And it's driving me insane, Rufus, how wide open he was. You know what? This is designed from the get-go. Sane looks off the safety, wide open. Turn off the lights, Rufus. This party may be over.
Well, it certainly is close to it, Jason. The hole now just got a little bit bigger for the Olympians, 31-13 with a 2-point conversion attempt coming up here. Drops back to pass. There's a pass over in the flat, and it's good.
This is unbelievable. 2 consecutive plays, and all night the West Torrance backs have been wide open. Somebody on that Lusinger defense is screwing their they're screwing up their assignment.
And the 2-point attempt is good. So now we've got a score at 33-13.
There you see some fans enjoying the game. They all haven't lost their mind. Well, next week will be Hawthorne and West Rufus, another pivotal game for the playoffs. This one was a must-win for the Olympians.
And right now they're staring at their 4th defeat of the season and the potential of dropping to 1-2 in Bay League competition. And of course, each loss at this point adversely affects their postseason opportunities. Patterson again with the return. Patterson, good return as they get it out to the 20. Looks like they're going to spot him at the 24 officially, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians with 9:17 left here in the contest. Losing her right now, trailing by a score of 33-13. And now we've got an injured Warrior down on the field. And with the injury timeout gives us an opportunity to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you by Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We hope you enjoyed, and if you do, please pass along a word of such to the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
There's injured Olympian Rufus. As you had a look earlier at the West Torrance crowd. They look a little subdued for a crowd that's ahead 33-13. You know what? They never have this type of success against Lusinger. But North usually doesn't have the success they had last week either against Lusinger. This season has just been really, really weird because in the Bay League, the Torrance schools are actually contending, which they haven't in previous years. And North, by the way, Rufus, North is ranked number 5 in Division II. I thought I would be a grandfather, frankly, before that happened. Rufus is they struggled to even get one win in the last 3 years actually, and as the Peninsula Panthers ranked number 1 in Division II with Dominguez's loss last week.
Well, there's a saying, every dog has his day. I mean, I can remember when the Cleveland Indians were dogs in baseball. I can remember when the Atlanta Braves were dogs in baseball.
Were?
They were. You're probably a little too young. The Braves for the last 7 years have been undoubtedly the premier team in Major League Baseball. Of course, they came up just a little short this year, but they'll be back.
Fans, I wonder if you know that Rufus is a Braves fan.
And more importantly, a Redskin fan. Since this is football season, we don't need to talk about what the Redskins did on Monday Night Football this week. So it's been a great week for me so far. A little disappointing now at the Olympian effort and the way things are turning out. Here you got a drop pass by the Olympians.
That's Terrence Hill. That's the second week in a row that he has had an out pass that he simply dropped or just didn't give any effort for. And oh boy, that one hit him right in the gut.
And I think the Olympians, and we're going to see a replay here once again of Foyer's pass.
This will tick a coach off. I know for a fact they watch our Channel 60 broadcast. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, that's 100% drop there. Eddie Miller with the carry.
You know what? The West defense hasn't gotten enough credit, Rufus. They have played an excellent game, especially Kurt Croson, number 40, and number 5, Devin Casey, they have really stifled the Olympians' running game for the most part. And they right now, all right, take a look at number 5, for example. This is Devin. He makes a nice play, fights off 2 blocks, and still manages to get a piece of the tackler, piece of the ball carrier, excuse me.
This time out of I formation, looked like movement on the Olympian left side of their line. And that's what the call is. False start against the Olympians.
Well, with a score like this, one-sided score, Rufus, West leading big, I guess you could say this is not your Father's Day league because it seemed like it's been turned on their head. North Torrance and West Torrance, they seem like they've taken over the power from the Cougars and the Olympians, at least this year. Still another half of the league season left to play, though.
But I think in this defeat, Jason, there may be a silver lining that perhaps we didn't know about and are seeing for the first time. But Chris Foyer, although that was a bad pass here, his passing game has shown tremendous improvement, 100% improvement from what we saw a week ago. And I think that gives the Olympians not so much an advantage, but it certainly helps out in their overall offensive attack, that it loosens up the defense, because defenses from the opposing teams can't simply sit back, key on Eddie Miller, and figure if they stop him, they stop the Olympians.
But you got to say, Rufus, West keyed on the run game, and they're blowing the Olympians out. So the Olympians, they're going to have to find some.
Wasn't quarterback.
No, it's not. Not to say that it's Fourier's fault. It's teams aren't going to respect the passing game of the Olympians yet, because the wide receivers of the Olympians, let's face it, they really have not shown much flash. There's no Jason Sharp of a few years ago on this team. There's no Wally Moomin. There's no Jermon McGee's. Marquise Williams is on this team. And the Olympians wide receivers and tight ends are going to have to start making some catches, and stop dropping passes, or teams are just not going to respect the run. And Eddie Miller and Brian Bruno, they're going to have a hard time finding holes to run throughs. It's plain and simple as that.
Well, I think one of the things that has to happen, and I believe that that the Coach Bobby Greer will make this adjustment, is that you've got to call passing plays. I mean, the quarterback is running the offense that's sent out there to him, and perhaps there hadn't been that level of confidence before. But again, I would think with the improvement, and granted there's still a ways to go, but with the improvement, I think what he's seen from Foyer's throws tonight, that he may trust the passing game just a little bit more in the weeks to come.
The only thing is, for the Olympians, who they're going to throw the ball to. Oscar Cifuentes has been hurt for much of this ball game. Right now out there, none of these receivers, except for Nelson Reyes, I believe, have made a catch this game.
And it's a 4th down for the Olympians. Miller in the punt. Olympians at their own 31-yard line. And it's a fake punt. Miller pulls it down. Let's see, will he pick up the first? Oh, no,
he won't,
Rufus. Stopped way short of the first down.
He won't, because the whole punt team stood around and watched him. And that was a clear, easy first down, and looked like at the beginning. But the Olympians decided to watch Eddie Miller run. See Eddie Miller run, see Eddie Miller down, see Eddie Miller angry.
Well, when you're down by 20 and the clock running out on you, you obviously have got to try some things. Not a situation where a coach would normally go for it on 4th down.
Look, everybody's standing and watching right here. Look, where's the blocks at, Rufus? Everybody's watching. Let Eddie do it by himself. That's just not going to get it done.
And Eddie gave it certainly the old college try. Now West will be content to run the clock out, although there's still 7 minutes, 10 seconds left in this contest, with West leading by a score of 33-13.
Now, West is looking at the polls, and West is looking at points. Nothing will please the West coaches more than to put 40 on the board at Olympian Field on homecoming night.
There you see the clock, 6:50 and counting left, score 33-13. Down in distance well, they are correct. We're going the other direction. I'm sorry, I was looking the other way. Looks like it's going to be a first down for the Warriors now as they get down near the 10-yard line. At about the 15 officially is where they're going to mark it, but the clock continues to run.
I think the Olympians next week in practice, they're going to have to see what went wrong on the defensive side of the ball, why West Torrance was able to run the ball so well. And you got to remember, folks, West Torrance is not a running ball club. They're actually a passing ball club. It just baffles the mind how they've just been able to run it all night against the Olympians. Quarterback draw.
Zane calls his own number, keeps it himself. Gets down near the goal line, certainly inside the 5. But I think one of the things that I think that they're going to notice is that when they look back at the replays, they had an opportunity for momentum, and there's going to be a touchdown.
The Olympian defense totally quit on that play. They did not want to make no type of a tackle. I'm talking about them as a group. A couple of players looked like they wanted to play, but that play, the hole was so wide open, the Olympian defenders were just standing straight up in the air. And now West may just put this 40 up on the board.
Well, to say that the Olympian defense at this point in the game is a dispirited bunch of guys certainly would be an understatement for them. On the touchdown that makes the score 39-13. With the extra point attempt coming up, they show kick. There's a snap, it's high, but they get it down, and it's good. So, with 5:38 left in the contest, you've got a score now of 40-13.
Take another look. It is just too easy. That was just too easy. Rufus, some credit should go to Greg Holt, the head coach for the Warriors, because he has turned this program around.
All right. Gives us an opportunity to take a break right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. And we're back, fans, as the Olympians prepare to receive. Brian Bruno with the return. Bruno has some running room still on his feet. He's going to finally be brought down, though. As he gets out to the 26, they're going to call it. Be 1st and 10 for the Olympians. 5.5 minutes left in the contest.
And if you're the Olympians, this may be the time to throw in your second string players and get them a little bit of playing time. Get some of those sophomores in, get them some experience under the light. But it looks like they're staying with their starting backfield except for Red Woodard's back in at quarterback.
Of course, one of the things that happened that hurt the Olympian effort tonight was the loss of Oscar Cifuentes to what would appear to have been a mild concussion late in the first half. And the Olympians have put Woodard back in at quarterback. Eddie Miller still running hard.
That's too bad. It's too little, too late, Rufus. But still trying hard. That offensive line came out in the second half, and they've done a pretty good job.
And in a situation like this, of course, Coach Greer, I would assume the thinking is to give his star player an opportunity to pad his statistics so that his name appears right up there with the leaders in the South Bay High School football. Woodard back to pass. Woodard over the middle. Tyrone Brooks decides to bring the old arms down on that one. Of course, the pass was just a little high.
That makes an interesting matchup next week. Hawthorne and West. You know Hawthorne will be prepared. They always are. We'll be at that one, Rufus.
And Hawthorne, no doubt, scouting this game tonight. There's a pass over the middle. Well,
That's a sophomore, Donald Bell, Rufus, starting quarterback on the sophomore team. Say what you want, but
and I think that's what Brooks saw coming on the previous pass. Why he elected not to do that. Woodard certainly is going to need to be coached and taught to bring that ball down. You don't want to hang your receiver out to dry like that.
Take another look at it, right over the middle. The little guy has heart. He wasn't going to short arm it. He just bounced off the turf, though. Now, how does the receiver jump off sides? That's Tyrone Brooks. I don't know if you saw it, but he was on he'd have been at the bottom of your screen. Receivers are supposed to look at the ball.
And we've got 3.5 minutes left, fans, in what has been a somewhat joyful homecoming celebration for the Olympians, tempered obviously by what will be a loss tonight in Bay League competition, dropping them to 2-4 overall, 1-2 in Bay League competition. The hill just gets a little bit higher now for the Olympians. There's Brooks over the middle. Brooks fights for a first down as he gets out near midfield.
Not a bad job by Tyrone Brooks. Jumped offside last play. Red Woodard stands in there, then guns a nice one over to Brooks. Tries to get a little bit of extra yardage on that play, but that's a nice little look in for the Olympians.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians now from the 49. Woodard's pass that time incomplete. Pass intended for Teague Charles.
All this is about right now is getting Red Woodard some experience, Rufus. Get him throwing the ball, get him playing, because in practice it's nothing like the game. You don't get these game conditions. You don't get these linemen drooling down your neck.
So it's a 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians now. 2:40 left in the contest. Woodard again drops back to pass. Throws it out in the flat. Hits his receiver, Eddie Miller. Miller picks up about 5 on the play. Here you see on the replay once again, Woodard with the swing pass, nearly a lateral as it goes over to Miller.
That was a good decision. His first choice was downfield. Looked at a couple of receivers, but that was a good decision. Showed some patience. He's, showing a little something this game.
Second down and 4 for the Olympians. Once again, Woodard passing. Pass incomplete. Good throw by Woodard, although he threw it in the triple coverage back there.
That was Nelson Reyes, the intended receiver, Rufus.
So
4th and 5. You think they might go for it?
Well, I think they will here. Scoreboard hadn't changed yet. Of course, the passes and incompletions have a tendency to elongate the game. Got a momentary stoppage by the officials. Gives me an opportunity to remind you once again that we'll be at Hellcap Field at Hawthorne High School for their homecoming next week, right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Dropping back to pass way too high for Tyrone Brooks.
That one would have been way too high for Shaquille O'Neal, Rufus.
Now you've got a flag on the play. And this will be an interesting call to see whether the Olympians keep possession.
You know what? These officials, if this was a close game, these West coaches may have been a little bit upset at the officiating because there have been some calls that have gone the Olympians' way.
And in that case, because it was a dead ball foul after the play, Torrance will maintain possession. West Torrance, they are, the Warriors. But they'll be backed up 15 yards with 1:48 left in the game. Gives me an opportunity to remind you that these broadcasts are the exclusive property of Channel 60 Sports. Any rebroadcast or any retransmission without the express written consent of Channel 60 Sports is prohibited.
Fans hit the exits, Rufus.
Well,
West Torrance is going to hit the exits with a victory tonight.
Of course, there's still a little bit of celebrating left for them as West Torrance keeps it on the ground. A new back running now, number 29. They've got a homecoming dance tomorrow night that a lot of these folks will be getting themselves fancied up for tomorrow as a part of the...
And we're going to try and sneak into that, right?
I'm going to try to, as a chaperone, of course.
Of course. No, Rufus, when you get blown out like this, you got to look at some of the positives for the Olympians. I think one of the positives coming out of this game may have been the play of Chris Fourier, the quarterback, coming off of the flu. Came in through some nice passes, and Brian Bruno played well on defense and offense side of the ball. So all is not lost for the Olympians.
Exactly, and West, of course,
just about
now,
98% of it.
Exactly, has made a change at quarterback, and they've done exactly what you were speaking of in terms of West. They've put in a host of new players just for the experience factor. Their quarterback now is, let's see here, number 11. That's Chad Munson.
He's the starting sophomore quarterback, by the way.
And we've got only 25 seconds left in the game, so we won't even bother with the details of trying to identify all the West substitutions that are in. Suffice to say, they're going to get out of here with a 40-13 victory. As the clock is running under 13 seconds, that's probably the last play of the game. A show of sportsmanship, the West coaching staff realizing the game is won. No need to further antagonize the situation by running plays or running up the scores.
I think the run defense for the Olympians next week, they're going to have to start over from scratch and find something that works against the run. They got blitz last week against North. This week, West Torrance does it. Peninsula's creeping up on the schedule.
So the Olympians take a tough defeat at home on homecoming night, 1997, by a score of 40-13 to the West Warriors. It was a game battle. They had a couple opportunities in the second half when they could have made a contest out of it. Didn't take advantage of those opportunities, and now they end up with the loss. They've got to regroup for next week and try to get back in the hunt for a playoff spot here in the 1997 season. For the entire crew here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, under the direction of Mike Galarza, along with Tom Strickfat and the camera crew of Jose Bravo, Robert Medina, Ali Santana, Billy Barnes, Armin George, and others, and Aaron. I'm Rufus Washington for Jason Miller saying thank you for joining us here tonight in Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. And we're going to see you next week from Hawthorne High School for their homecoming as these Cougars take on these very same West Warriors. I want you to join us, fans, once again next Friday night on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Good night.